I was able to leave my day job at 30 years old because of something I call the high yield side hustle. What is that? Part-time entrepreneurship that actually makes sense for you, where the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, I did not come from money, so getting to that level of freedom to be able to leave my day job was not easy. I had to work for it. I actually layered in multiple side hustles in order to grow my income and grow my independence. In this video, I'm gonna share the 3 side hustles that made the biggest impact for me in my own journey. I'll walk you through how I got started with these side hustles, whether you can start them too, and what are some things that you should look out for in order to be successful if you do. Also, I'm going to give you a free idea bank which has 32 of my favorite high yield side hustle ideas, complete with use cases, and I'm willing to bet there's a lot of them on there that you haven't heard of before. The first side hustle that changed my life: real estate investing. Real estate is hands down one of the most effective ways to achieve financial freedom. I'm sure you've heard something along those lines before, and it's because it's true. I'm proof of that in my own life and story. When it's dialed in right, it can feel like a golden goose that keeps on giving. It's not easy to get there, but it's also not as complicated as it might seem. Before I dove deep into real estate investing, it was intimidating to me. It felt very risky. It felt scary. Like it would be really easy to make mistakes that could cost me tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, cost me peace of mind. And the truth is, it is easy to make those mistakes. But I also learned that there was a way to do real estate investing that was low risk. And I learned that I could stack the odds in my favor. And the way that I did that was by first finding great deals on the front end. In real estate, my favorite mantra is you make your money on the buy. So the acquisition price, I was able to find and source deals off market and then learn how to negotiate deals to get really great deals on the front end. And then 2, I learned the concept of forced appreciation on the back end. And that looks like, instead of waiting for the market to go up and depending on the market for your values to rise, you force the value to rise. And the way you do that is through strategic updates. I found the sweet spot for me was looking for aesthetic remodels. So not the scary gut jobs. I have done those before. They are painful when you have to deal with foundation issues, flooring systems, other structural, all the way down to the studs, new plumbing, new electrical. Those are painful projects. What I found to be the sweet spot was the aesthetic remodel that required new bathrooms, new flooring, new kitchens, cabinet, paint, the stuff that actually isn't that scary, but it produces the highest return on your investment of capital. You might put 20, 40K into a property, and then you get 40 to 80K of value out of it. That gap there, that differential, is forced appreciation. And it's one of the quickest ways to grow your net worth and increase your financial freedom. Now, real estate can be fairly passive, but at this point in my life, it was anything but passive. It was very active for me. I spent at least 15 hours a week on this outside of my day job, but I was hooked. I loved the thrill of finding those deals, making those strategic, cost-effective improvements, earning cash flow from the rent, and then seeing the values rise. It was addicting in mostly a healthy way, I think, but I actually started to debate whether I wanted to try to blow up a big rentals empire like you see from a lot of the real estate gurus out there. But instead, for me and my wife's goals, we pursued a vision of building a small portfolio of 10 to 15 units that we could one day own free and clear. And that would give a lot of freedom to our family. So that's the path that we've taken. We've done a lot of transactions over the years, currently hold 11 rental units. And this is about right in the sweet spot for us. So is real estate investing the right side hustle for you? Even if you don't have a ton of starting capital, it is possible to get involved in real estate investing with creative financing strategies and with the right partner. I had success using extra cash from my day job at the time and working closely with local banks. So the higher you can get your day job income, yes, this video is about side hustles, but the more that you can get out of your day job, the more ability you're going to be able to have to create outside of your day job. I have a separate video on increasing the income you're getting from your day job, how to position for that, and how to capture extra money out of your day job. Check that out if you're interested. If you're going to pursue real estate investing, avoid these 2 big mistakes. First, do not overestimate your numbers. This is so common for people as they get excited about it. Make sure that you're conservative and make sure you're confident in your numbers. I actually made another video on 4 ways to evaluate a real estate deal for beginners. I'm going to link that as well in the description if you're curious. Secondly, aim for low risk properties, especially when you're starting out. Keep it relatively low cost. Whatever the market price is in your area, go for lower cost homes, no scary gut jobs. Make sure you have multiple ways to win, multiple exit strategies with that property. And ultimately, be patient, be persistent. Real estate is a marathon and not a sprint. The second side hustle that changed my life: private money lending. This is the most passive income stream that I've ever personally experienced. It's essentially like being the bank. You're gonna fund deals, you're gonna trust that they pay off for you. Don't get me wrong, it does come with risks. I started private money lending after I'd saved up a decent amount of money from my day job. Instead of getting in things like invoice factoring or business loans, I found my sweet spot in, you guessed it, real estate deals. I lent money to builders who needed to buy lots in order to build homes on them, and I also lent to other investors who were doing other flips and rehab projects. I consistently made much more than 10% on my money, And really the active part of it was underwriting the deal and the partner on the front end. After that, it was a very passive way to make good money on the side. So should you start private money lending? If you do, here's a couple of important things to consider. First thing to consider, make sure your finances are solid if you're gonna do this type of side hustle. You're gonna wanna have extra margin between your income and your expenses. Sometimes you will not get paid back on the timeline that you expected. The project may get extended, so make sure you have flexibility in your finances to be able to float that. Secondly, you're gonna wanna make sure that your loans are always collateralized with a strong loan to value ratio. That's so important that the value of what you're loaning against is worth a lot more than the loan that you're giving. Typically, the rule of thumb is at least 80% loan to value. If you can get to 70% or better, that's also great. Also, ideally, you want your lien to be in first position. That means that you have the first claim on the property if things were to go south in some way. The worst case scenario is you would take over that property, and if you can live with that, sometimes it ends up being a better deal for you. You don't want that for your partner, but that's the beauty. If you underwrite the right deal in private money loan, it can be pretty low risk if the quality of that asset is high enough. Finally, you want to ensure that the borrower has some skin in the game personally. It's great for that asset to be highly valued and have a great loan to value ratio, but if you want to make sure that partner has extra incentive, they should have some of their own cash, some of their own money at risk in the deal that aligns your interest with them. And the third side hustle, leadership training and development. I was able to leverage my prior experience to build out a leadership program where I served other businesses who needed to develop leaders. I realized just how important leadership was, and most companies wish that they did more to develop their people and to grow their leadership inside their company. This is one of my favorite type of side hustles. It's a B2B model, so business to business on a recurring basis. The reason why I love it is because you can charge based on value instead of time. And when you can start charging based on the value that you're creating versus trading your hours for dollars, you're gonna make a lot more money and you're gonna have more control over your schedule. I also love B2B recurring because once you get into a company, it's a lot stickier to stay there and to deepen that relationship. So can you start something like this? Absolutely. If you have some type of expertise that you can serve other businesses with, it's an incredible way to build a side hustle that could turn into more, just like it did for me. The main thing to focus on to be successful in this space is how you're gonna demonstrate your credibility. For me, this looked like starting a leadership podcast where I invited CEOs and other thought leaders onto my show. This helped establish me as an authority as I associated myself with these other incredible thought leaders and CEOs. And then I was able to create really helpful content for my target market, as well as build relationships with some really awesome potential clients. So if you're considering something like this, think about how you're gonna build your brand and make sure that your thought leadership comes to the forefront. To help you figure out your winning side hustle, I created a list of 32 of some of my favorite high yield side hustles. You can get that in the link in the description. If you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe. Peace.